everybody. We have 1 minute before we get started today. We're going to start standing. So, find yourself some space. Put on some relaxing music if you have that as an option. Feel free to light some incense or some candles. Make sure you have some high quality H2O in case you need it. We're going to start our practice standing today. All right, so find a spot for yourself. The flatter your spot, the less you have going on under your feet. Usually the easier it is to actually balance on a nice hard floor. So recognize that maybe sometimes you're doing yoga on carpeting and you're like, whoa, this is really hard, and you're not alone. Whoa. So keep that in mind if there's ever a day where your balance feels a little bit off. Being on the thinnest surface that you can find can really help with that balance. All right, so you're going to stand up with your heels and toes touching each other and just start to ground your feet into the floor. Really find some pressure from your heel, your big toe, your pinky toe. Even think about like pressing down through that arch. And the way that you're going to have to start squeezing your glutes and contracting your core and even gently starting to press those hips forward towards the front of the mat, the front of the room. Start to relax your shoulders down, away from your ears, even opening up your chest, maybe elbows draw back slightly. Let's just take a couple moments right here, focusing on ourselves, our health, our breath. The most important thing for class today is that you just find that consistent, enjoyable breath that you can keep. Inhaling in through your nose, exhaling out through your nose or mouth, whichever feels most comfortable for you. Today, instead of closing your eyes during practice, explore the idea of just finding one spot of concentration. And it's not like you have to be laser focused in on that spot that you are looking at. It can be sort of like a soft, like hazy focus on that spot. But, you know, sometimes in our lives, we don't have the opportunity to just like close your eyes and try to block everything out. And the real yoga is what we do, not just here in our practice on the mat, but real yoga happens in real life when we take all of the beautiful things that we practice here and the calmness and the breath, and we apply that to our real life situations. So knowing that some of you guys might, have to go back into work soon, think about seeming relaxed, staying within your breath, and just, gazing your eyes forward at something. All right, starting off with half moon hands to feet pose. Turn your hands palms forward towards the front of the room or even out towards the opposite walls. Continue to ground your feet down into the floor, core contracted. Inhale your arms up overhead sideways as you interlace your fingers, release your index fingers, thumbs crossed. Looks just like this. Bam, I'm making a little gun. All right. Keep your wrists together like glue throughout this entire posture, and notice if you're starting to round forward right here. Really do your best to open up that chest and back. Take that arching out of your back, squeezing your glutes, tucking your pelvis under. Really work to find the length from your waist as you stretch your arms up towards the ceiling, not just from stretching your shoulders up towards your ears. And when you find that length, gently move your body right and left several times, and think about your fingers as a paintbrush, and you're trying to paint the ceiling, but again, you're finding that length coming up from your waist. Really think about pushing your hips a little bit right and left, noticing that the more that you really shift the weight and push your hips, the more your body might come down. And then go ahead, stop in the middle. Re-ground your feet. Squeeze your glutes, hips comes forward. Open up your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Do your best to keep your biceps touching with your ears. Take one more deep inhale, stretch up toward the ceiling. And on your exhale, slowly, gently come on down to the right. Without bending your elbows or your knees, start pushing your hips to the left beyond your flexibility to create a tremendous stretching feeling all over the left side of your body from your fingers to your toes. And you want to be in as straight of a line as possible. So work to bring your right shoulder forward, left shoulder back, working to stack one shoulder eventually on top of the other, opening your chest evenly, pushing your hips to the left. Try not to crunch down into this right side. Think about lifting your body up and over, reaching over a really big Swiss ball to find the best stretch that you can for today. Squeeze your hands, palms a little bit tighter. Push your hips as you stretch and push. And inhale as you slowly come back up to center. Challenge yourself. Keep your arms there. I know if this is a new posture for you, your shoulders might be screaming, but you're worth it. Take one more big inhale. Stretch up from your waist. Ground your feet, belly tight, and slowly, gently come on down to the left. Once again, without bending your elbows or knees, take your time with your breath. Think about inhaling and finding an extra stretch of your fingers and exhaling, pushing your hips to the right. Once again, use that giant Swiss ball to inhale and lift up and over. It doesn't really matter how far you come down as long as you're creating a tremendous stretching feeling. And then bringing your left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. Pull your belly in tight, ground your feet. Bring your right hip forward, left hip forward. Right hip forward, right hip, oh my gosh. Right and left, so confusing. Squeeze those hands, palms a little bit tighter. Make sure that your chin is away from your chest, not stretching up towards the ceiling, but neutral, like you're holding onto a grapefruit as you push and stretch and push. Inhale, breathing, come up, stop in the middle once more. Bring the weight into your heels. Use your next inhale to stretch your eyes, nose, chin up towards the ceiling as much as feels comfortable for you. And that could be something different for everyone. Maybe you're looking all the way up towards the ceiling, and maybe your eyes are still gently focused towards the wall in front of you. Bring a little bit more weight into your heels. Squeeze your glutes, push your hips forward, and relax your shoulders away from your ears. On your next inhale, lift your chest, sternum, arms come up, and on your exhale, bring your arms back so your biceps touch with your ears. Already your total spine is backward bending from coccyx to your neck, but keep the backward bend in your upper back, not just in your lower back. So every inhale, lift your chest, and on your exhale, like someone has their hand right below your shoulders. Inhale, lift. Exhale. If you can see something with your eyes behind you, try and touch it. Create a straight line with your fingers as you lean back, more back, way back. Inhale, breathing slowly, gently. Come up, pull your belly in nice and tight. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. We're going to hinge forward and bring all 5 fingers down to the floor in front of you. Heels, toes are still side by side. Bring your chin a little closer towards your chest and bend one leg and then the other. If you really can't reach down towards the floor, just do the best that you can with the body that you have today. And your best is always enough. Start thinking about bringing a little bit more weight forward towards your toes here. All right. Heels, toes still touching tight, side by side. Take a generous bend of your knees. So your belly is on your knees. I like to think about hooking my lower ribs over my knees, and the way that you would have to flatten your back to make that happen, as opposed to chin towards the chest. Rounding, you're going to be a lot more comfortable if you can find this flat back here, which just might mean lots of bending of your knees and maybe a little bit more pressure of your hands on the floor. So if this is new to you, feel free to keep your hands on the floor, but if you're ready for a little bit more, reach back and try and grab hold of your heels from behind, stepping on all 5 fingers of each hand, such that your little baby fingers are touching each other. What's going on with your stomach? Is it still sucked in as tight as possible? You are working to eliminate the light and the air between your upper and your lower body. So as you keep a little bit more weight in your heels with those knees bent, this is going to be an easier posture.
If you want more of a stretch on the back of your legs, start to roll the weight forward towards your toes. Stretch your hips up towards the ceiling. Think about stretching your hairline down towards the floor and draw those shoulders away from your ears. Your stomach is on your thighs, your chest is on your thighs. Can you pull your face into the space below your knees? Rewrap your forearms around your calf muscles. Eventually they'll touch each other. It's your last chance to lift your hips, spiral those inner thighs towards the back of the room, and lock your knees. Change. Bring your arms up with your ears, biceps touching ears, legs are locked, belly tight. Inhale, stretch all the way up towards the ceiling. Find that extra lift and stretch, and exhale, relax your arms down by your side and don't move. Complete stillness, just focusing on that spot that you found when you started class. Just focusing on that spot, coming back into your breath. So take this time to slow down your inhale and really slow down your exhale. Slowing down your exhale longer than your inhale when you're feeling stressed is going to help you to bring that heart rate down, to feel more relaxed. And sometimes you just got to do whatever it is you can do. So laser focus and your breath, pull that belly in tight. We're going to do the same thing one more time, but this time I just want you to flip your grip. So whatever feels dominant and natural for you as you bring your arms up overhead, switch it up so that the other thumb is on top. All right. Go ahead, bring those heels, toes to touch each other one more time. Ground your feet into the floor. Pull that belly in nice and tight, tucking that pelvis under, opening up your shoulders and your chest. Hands, palms forward or out to the opposite walls as much as possible. Inhale your arms up overhead sideways. Go for that less dominant grip. As you interlace your fingers, release your index fingers and thumbs are crossed. Squeeze your glutes, push your hips forward, open your shoulders and chest. Take a deep inhale, stretch up, find that length from your waist, not just shoulders coming up towards your ears. And once you find that length, use your breath and slowly, gently come on down to the right. Again, without bending your elbows or knees, keep pushing your hips to the left beyond your flexibility and create that tremendous stretching feeling from your fingers to your toes. Make sure you're not collapsing, looking down towards the floor. Open your shoulders and chest by drawing your right shoulder forward, left shoulder back, and then left hip comes forward to keep your hips squared with the top of your mat. If you find yourself really stuck, can you squeeze your hands, palms tighter? Can you find some space of shoulders away from ears, chin away from chest? Pull your belly in nice and tight. It's your last chance to come on down and push and stretch and push. Inhale, breathing, come up, stop in the middle, keep your arms there. Hips forward, upper body back, belly pulled in tight. Inhale from your waist, stretch to the ceiling, and exhale, slowly, gently start coming down to the left. Again, you're using your breath. So you're using your inhale to reach with your fingers, finding length. Left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. And you're using your exhale to push your hips to the right while also bringing that right hip forward. Do your best to keep your biceps touching with your ears, chin away from your chest, equally grounding your feet into the floor. Squeeze your hands, palms as you come down and push and stretch and push. And inhale, breathing, come up. Stop in the middle. Ground your feet into the floor. Inhale your eyes, nose, chin up towards the ceiling. Relax and release your shoulders away from your ears. Make sure you're not bringing the weight just towards the outside of the feet. Really press those big toes down into the floor. Squeeze your glutes and hips forward. Inhale, lift your chest up. Exhale, bring your arms back so your biceps come towards your ears. And this can be your backward bend right here. This is a great place to start, but if you can go more forward, keep squeezing your glutes. Hips come forward, stacking closer towards the heels. Chest lifts up. Bring those arms back, biceps touching with your ears. If you see it with your eyes, touch it with your fingers, but find that lift on each breath. So inhale, lift up, exhale, arms back. Inhale, lift up, belly tight, exhale, arms back. One more time. Inhale, lift as you push and stretch and push and slowly change.
Pull your belly in. You can bend your knees if you need to, or keep those legs straight as you hinge forward. Place all 5 fingers down on the floor in front of you. One more opportunity to bend your knees, one and the other. Feel free to get a little extra movement now that you're more warmed up, so maybe crouching all the way down onto your toes. I like to crouch down and shift my knees right and left. Gives that delightful stretch in that muffin top area. So good. Feel free to shake your head yes and no and left and right. And just find whatever shimmy shakes and wiggles work for you before we come into hands to feet pose for the second time. So heels, toes still touching side by side. I pull my belly in really tight, bend my knees, and work to hook my ribs over my knees. They don't really hook, my ribs are right here. It's just the idea, you're creating that sensation. All right, you can keep your hands on the floor if you need to. If you can reach back and grab hold of your heels, you're working towards the idea of your little baby fingers touching each other. And maybe today you can only grab hold from the sides, and that's okay. Or maybe you just are reaching in the direction of your heels. Whatever you can do. With challenge comes change. Make sure that belly is still pulled in really tight, though, supporting that lower back and our forward hinge. As you bring more weight forward towards your toes, stretching those hips up towards the ceiling, looking to just engage your thighs. Pull your shoulders away from your ears, stretch your hairline down towards the floor. It's your last chance to lift your hips and lock your knees. Change. Slowly, gently release your heels. Keep that stomach sucked in, arms touching with your ears. Stretch all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, relax your arms down by your side. Take a moment again right now, right here in your stillness. Awesome. Turn your hands, palms out once more. Inhale your arms up towards the ceiling, palms facing towards each other. Ground those feet into the floor, and exhale, you're going to cactus your arms down, maybe coming into a slight backward bend here. Inhale, arms come up towards the ceiling, thumbs towards the back of the room. Exhale, chin lifts away from chest, elbows come down nice and wide. 3 more. Inhale, stretch up, pull your belly in, stack head over heart. Exhale. Inhale up. Exhale down. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, just bring those arms all the way down and out to the side. Interlace your fingers behind you. The best that you can. Maybe you can even bring your hands, palms towards each other as you stretch those knuckles down towards the floor. Take a moment here, tuck your chin towards your chest. Engage your abdominal core once more. And change, release, interlace those fingers in front of your chest. Find a nice little C curve of your spine, the same way that you would in cat-cow, in the cat portion. Feel free to take a little bend of your knees, just like we did a couple moments ago in half moon hands to feet pose. Really press through those fingers towards the wall in front of you. Take one more deep inhale as you stretch those arms up towards the ceiling. And on your exhale, relax those arms down however feels best for you. Maybe stretching a little through the left and then the right. Turning your head gently right and left and left and right. And just take a moment right here with your arms down by your side once more in mountain pose. Beautiful. Inhale those arms up overhead sideways. Exhale, rain those fingertips down towards the floor. Bend your knees if you need to. Inhale, come on up towards a half lift. So pulling those shoulders away from your ears, belly in nice and tight. You can have a bend of your knees if you need to. Exhale, release yourself back down towards the mat. Once more in our dangle. Go ahead with some pressure of your hands on the floor. We're just going to separate our feet. Mats width distance apart or wider, whatever feels best for you, and start to bring a little weight more forward towards the toes. You can keep your heels invisible behind your toes, or you can turn your toes in towards each other, pigeon-toeing your feet like pizza. Let's keep our left hand down on the floor and stretch your right arm up towards the ceiling. Turn your chin towards that right shoulder. First little spine twist of the day. Spine twists are so good for just squeezing out all of the toxic guru, who knows? I don't know, that's what they say. Feel free to take a little half bind here, bending at your elbow. Right hand fingertips come towards the left hip crease. Work to keep both feet still grounded on the floor. And notice if you started bringing the weight just to the outside of your toes, bring those big toes down as well. Release your half bind, stretch your right arm up towards the ceiling, right hand comes down towards the floor. Inhale, left arm up towards the ceiling. Take your time as you're ready, turning your chin towards that left shoulder, still equally grounding through heels, big toes, pinky. If you want that half mini bind, go ahead, bend your left elbow, reach towards your right hip. Keep drawing that left elbow back. Oh, feels so good. Make sure you're still grounding equally of your inner and outer foot onto the floor. Heels as well. Get ready to release. Take a deep inhale. Stretch your left arm up towards the ceiling. Bring your left hand fingertips down towards the floor. All right, you can stay right here if you need to, but we're going to work to come a little bit deeper to get a bigger stretch on the back of those legs. So start to walk your hands towards the outsides of your feet. And if you can, grab hold of your heels. Not quite from behind as we tried for half moon hands to feet pose, but from the side. Maybe if you're a beginner, you can come towards just grabbing your big toe, or it's totally okay to have your hands on the floor in front of you. If you find that you cannot straighten your legs here, please do bring your hands down on the mat in front of you, right underneath of those shoulders, and just work to ground your feet into the floor, to spiral your inner thighs towards the back of the room, to find a nice straight leg. And if you have that straight leg, then we're moving on. Grabbing hold of the heels, keeping your chin away from your chest slightly. It's going to take that rounding out of your back. So chin comes away from your chest. Think once again about getting your belly to touch on your thighs. See if you can pull on your heels to get your forearms in line with your shin, stretching your hairline down towards the floor. So chin's not tucked towards your chest. You're not looking towards the ceiling or the wall behind you. You're looking down at that space between your big and your second toe. And if you have enough pull, you might even be able to get the crown of your head to touch down on the floor in front of you. Take one more nice deep inhale. And on your exhale, release. Get your fingers out from under those toes. Stretch your arms out towards the side. Pull your belly in tight and slowly, gently lift yourself up. Inhale, arms come up overhead. Exhale, rain those fingertips back down towards the floor. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, release your hands towards the floor. Walk your knees in one at a time and bring those knees down towards the mat. We're going to take some cat-cow right here. Oh. Finding a cat-cow that works best for you. Hands, palms underneath of the shoulders and hips stacked underneath of the knees. Feel free to take some shimmy shakes of your hips in one direction. Oh my gosh, in the opposite direction. Maybe bring in a little weight forward, shoulders coming forward of the fingertips with the tucking of the pelvis to focus the stretch a little bit more towards the lower back. Hips towards your heels with your chin tucked towards your chest brings a nice stretch towards that upper back. You can even make some delightful circles right here. If you do it in one direction though, try it in the opposite direction as well. We'll take just about one more minute right here. Just finding the movement that works for you. Just having some fun. And breathing. And breathing. Make sure you're breathing. Great. All right. Go ahead. I know, we're doing a lot on those shoulders today, you guys. You're worth it. Keep your left hand down on the mat. Stretch your right arm up towards the ceiling and bring your eyes towards your right hand fingertips. Exhales, you bring your right hand underneath of your body. Palm faces up towards the ceiling. Right ear, right shoulder comes down towards the mat. You can gently shift your hips a little bit to the left if you want. You can stay supported. Keep your left hand on the floor
with your elbow bent, bringing a little bit more of a stretch into that upper back. Get more of a stretch on the shoulder. You can think about walking your left hand fingertips forward. And then use your breath. Exhale, releasing your glutes a little closer towards your heels, creating a little bit more of a stretch in that hip flexor as well. If you walked your left hand out, gently walk your left hand back in. Ground that hand palm onto the floor. Lift yourself up. Eye once again follows your right hand as you stretch up towards the ceiling. And exhale, right hand comes down towards the floor. Inhale, left arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, left hand comes under the body, palm facing up towards the ceiling. Left shoulder comes down towards the mat. Left ear comes down towards the mat. You can shift your weight a little, glutes coming closer towards the heels. And you can stay right here supported in your stretch with your right elbow bent and your palm on the floor, or feel free to bring it a little bit more into a stretch of the shoulders if you want or need it. Right hand fingertips walk forward. Use your breath, exhale. Starting to release your hips a little closer towards your heels. A little extra stretch in those hip flexors, glutes. Take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, if your right hand is extended, walk your right hand fingertips back in, nice and slow. Press your right hand down on the floor. Inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling. Exhale, left hand comes down. Beautiful. Gently walk those right hand fingertips forward just a little bit. Tuck those toes under. We're going to take a moment here and plank. If you're having trouble in plank, come back into tabletop and then come back in plank. And then tabletop and then plank. Or just keep hanging out here for 3, 2, press that fleshy part between your thumb and pointer finger into the floor as you send your hips up towards the ceiling. You might need to walk your feet in just a little bit. Just a moment right here in down dog. Make sure you have some space for yourself. We're gonna ground your left foot on the mat, send your right leg up towards the ceiling. Make some circles with your ankle, with your toes in one direction, in the opposite direction. Release your right leg back down towards the mat. Send your left leg up towards the ceiling. Make some circles with your ankle, with your toes in one direction, in the opposite direction. And left leg comes back down towards the mat. Once more, right leg comes up towards the ceiling. Go ahead, bend your knee. Stack your knee on top of your hip. Make some circles with your knee. Extend that right leg once more. We're going to come forward. Bring your right knee towards your nose. Send it back up towards the ceiling. Right knee towards your right elbow. Back up towards the ceiling. Right knee towards left elbow. Back towards the ceiling. And this time bring that right leg forward. Oh, my step feels short. That's okay. All right, we're coming into a hip opener. Get there however you can. Good times. All right, just starting to shift your hips forward. As you find some stability here, notice what's happening with your upper body. Is there a lot of crunching here in your upper body? Can you relax and release your shoulders away from your ears? Can you even lift yourself up? Stack your head over your heart. If so, inhale those arms up towards the ceiling. Once more, thumbs towards the back of the room. Exhale, cactus. Inhale, stretch up. Chin towards chest. Exhale, chin up towards the ceiling. Cactus arms. Hips still forward. Once more, inhale up. Exhale, rain those fingertips back down towards the floor. Go ahead, tuck your left toes under. Send your right leg back to meet your left. Take a moment right here and plank. And then hips up towards the ceiling once more in down dog. Ground that right foot back towards the mat. Pull your belly in. Send your left leg up towards the ceiling and bend your left knee. Stack your knee on top of your hip. Make some circles in one direction, in the opposite direction. Straighten that left leg out. Left knee towards your nose. Exhale back up towards the ceiling. Left knee towards your left elbow. Exhale back towards the ceiling. Left knee to right elbow. One more time up to the sky, and then bring that left leg forward. Coming into our hip opener again, release that left knee, right knee, back down towards the mat. Really work to bring your hips forward. Make sure that your knee is on top of your ankle, your left leg, or whichever leg is forward, that you're not all the way back here. You really want to find as straight of a line as you can create from your left knee, which is up, to your right leg, which is down on the floor. All right, still facing forward towards the top of your mat. Inhale, those arms up overhead sideways, thumbs towards the back of the room. Exhale, cactus arms, another mini back bend. Inhale, up. Exhale, cactus. One more just like that. Inhale, up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale up, and then we'll rain our fingertips back down towards the mat. Tuck your right toes under, send your left leg back to meet with your right, and simply go ahead, bend your knees. Your choice if you want to do an open or a closed leg child's pose as you send your hips back towards your heels. Forehead comes down towards the mat. If your shoulders have had enough, you can always bend your elbows as generously as you would like. Even bringing your hands, palms closer towards your heels with your palms face up towards the ceiling. Great, get your hands back in line with your chest, gently press yourself up. Not all the way up. Go ahead, take a moment, tuck your toes under. A nice stretch of our toe meat. Start to walk your hands in. You can keep your fingertips down on the floor. This one can get kind of intense pretty fast. If you can, walk your hands up your thighs. Restack your head over your heart. Just come back into your breath. Come back into that spot that you're focusing on today for class when things get stressed and you're just looking at that spot and breathing. Two more breaths right here. I know, big stretch. You're worth it. All right, walk those hands back towards the mat, uncurl your toes, and just tap the tops of your feet down towards the floor. Go ahead, shift your hips over so you can sit down. And kick your right leg out in front of you as you fold your left leg in. Left leg comes towards your right thigh bicep. We got one more nice stretch of those sides. Inhale those arms up overhead sideways. Interlace your fingers and turn towards your right foot. Pull your belly in tight. You're slowly, gently going to round yourself down, and you can bend your knee as much as you need to work to grab hold of your foot with your interlaced fingers. Can you bring your forehead to touch your knee? If so, you can get the benefit of the compression of this posture, not just the stretching, which is so good for elimination, digestion, metabolism, so many great things. Just putting a little pressure on that third eye as you kick your right leg out in front of you. You just want to come into the stretch enough that you feel both of your glutes are still down towards the mat. And then drop your left shoulder down, left elbow down, so that your forearms can create a delicious sandwich around your calf. Drop those elbows down towards the floor. Pull that belly in nice and tight. Can you get your belly to stop touching on your thigh? Change. Lift yourself up. Oh, nice big stretch, and switch your legs. Kick your left leg out. Fold your right leg in. Turn towards that left leg. Reground those sit bones. Pull your belly in tight. Find that space of shoulders away from your ears. As you stretch up and round forward, your left toes are flexed back towards your face, and you just gently slide your saddled hands right around the sole of your foot. And then start to drop your right shoulder down, right elbow down, so that you are placing your belly nice and flat on your thigh, but then just working to pull that belly away from your thigh as much as possible. And there can be as much rounding towards your back here as you need. And remember, you can bend that knee as much as you need to. But if you don't need to bend the knee and you can get your forehead to touch on your knee, can you flex your toes back towards your face and even get your heel up off of the floor? Change. Lift yourself up. Go ahead, kick both legs out in front of you. Relax your arms down by your side, taking a moment right here in staff pose. If this is uncomfortable for you, if the backs of your legs are so tight that no thanks on staff pose, you can always take a generous or gentle bend of your knees right here. Just work to open up your chest. Back to your spot of laser focus, eyes open. Just breathing. Next up is caterpillar. Extend the legs as much as you can. Start to walk your hands forward. Once again, keeping that belly pulled in nice and tight. Your choice if you want to come down here with that super flat back, or if you'd like to come down with a little bit more rounding C curve in your spine. Just finding what feels good for your body today. You can always try both. Great. Gently start to walk yourself back up. Take a moment, bob your knees, windshield wipe your feet, and then draw those heels in together for butterfly or bound angle. Feel free to adjust your hips as much as you need to for this one. And this is really just a matter of how open your hip flexors are. So as desk people have tight hip flexors. I'm pretty flexible. Flexibility is learned and earned though, so the more that you come, the more flexible you'll be, but it's really normal if you find yourself here in this posture. If so, you can always try and bring your feet a little bit further out and see if that's a little bit more comfortable for you. Just finding what feels good for you today. If you can interlace those fingers right by those pinky toes, go for it. Feel free to hinge forward if you need a bigger stretch on your inner thigh, on those hip flexors, maybe even gently pressing your elbows into your calves. And for a super fun challenge, if you can create a bowl with your feet, you can think about bringing your head towards the bowl and your feet. And change. Slowly, gently lift yourself up. Great. You're going to go ahead, kick your left leg out in front of you, and then lift your right leg up, bring it up and over your left leg. Try not to apply too much pressure directly on the outside of your knee, and get your right sit bones back down on the floor. Bring your right hand behind you by the base of your spine. So you're pressing the pads of your fingers into the floor to help you lift and open your chest. Chest is open, shoulders draw back. Inhale your left arm up and over and reach those fingertips down towards the floor. Keeping that chest as open as you can. Use your breath to exhale and slowly, gently turn and twist your chin towards your right shoulder. Once again, find that spot to focus your eyes. It doesn't have to be on something in focus. It can be something a little bit blurry, but find one spot, your deepest twist. Take one more deep inhale, stretch up through the crown of your head, and on your exhale, slow as you can go, turn back towards the front. And change, switch your right leg with your left, cross your left leg over your right. Adjust your sit bones as much as you need to. Bring your left hand behind you by the base of your spine. Press those left hand fingertips down into the mat. Open your shoulders, engage your back and pull your belly in. Then lift your right arm up and over. Right back of your forearm comes towards your thigh. Keep that chest and shoulders open. Continue to draw that left shoulder back and belly in. Stretch up through the crown of your head. Take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, slowly begin to twist. It's no race, so take your time. Even if it takes you a couple of breaths.
It should. It should take you a couple of breaths to find the deepest twist. You don't just, bam, get into it. Just like you don't get out of it. Especially towards the end of the practice. Really making sure once you're feeling a little bit more loose, comfortable, flexible, that you give the same mindfulness to your entry and exits of the postures as you did when you first started class. Take one more deep inhale and exhale slowly, gently. Untwist. Go ahead, turn around, lay down on your back. Let's enjoy a nice long Savasana together. Final Savasana, so feel free to open your arms as wide as you want. Feel free to open your legs as wide as you want. And you got it, dude. We're spending 5 minutes here in your final Savasana. And I want you to treat this posture the same as you would every other posture that we've done today. So I doubt that you were doing, you know, the hip opener and you just kept coming in and out or adjusting your clothes or fixing your hair. So do that real fast if you need to do that. If you want to grab a sip of water before you lay down in this final Savasana, whatever it's going to take for you to be in complete stillness, that's what we're going for. So this time you are welcome to close your eyes if you want to, or continue to just stare at one spot on the ceiling and come back to your breath. The only thing to focus on right now is your breath. So if you find your mind is going towards, what am I going to have for lunch? Try counting your breath. Going for, ideally, 5 to 6 second inhales. And then 6 to 8 second exhales. Definitely make that exhale longer than your inhale. Bring that heart rate back down. Relax. work today, everybody. Take a wiggle of your fingers, wiggle of your toes. Feel free to hang out on the floor for as long as you want. I'm drawing my knees up towards my chest, giving myself some circles of my knees, a nice little massage of my lower back. Until Uncle Buck learns how to give me a back massage. This is what I got. Feel free to hang out on the floor, rolling around, doing whatever extra stretches work for you today. No pressure or rush to finish your practice. But if you are ready to wrap things up, find your way to a seated position, a little Ukasana easy pose or whatever posture makes you happy. Go ahead, bring your hands, palms to the center of your chest. Tuck your chin to your chest as you honor yourself for making this time and space and energy. Thank you guys so much for coming and sharing it, not just with me, but with each other. If you have any questions or concerns about anything we said or did today, as always, please reach out. It was my pleasure to hang around and make some shapes and have some fun and breathe with you guys. I can't wait to see you all again soon. If there's anything that aches, let me know. We'll make a class for it. Till mañana. Namaste.